All right, guys, we've got a request from a viewer that I do a review on the RaceDeck flooring. I think we'll also maybe do a review of a couple other things that are sort of applicable to basically what I call my dream garage. And this person was looking at potentially installing RaceDeck, and of course, believe me, I understand. There's questions and concerns about doing so, and he wants to know, am I still happy 4 years later? It's been actually 4.5 years with my decision on the RaceDeck, and any concerns or advice on it. So that's what we're gonna do in this video. And the bottom line is, getting the RaceDeck was one of the best decisions I feel I have made for my garage. It has far more than lived up to the expectations that I had. Everybody who comes here immediately does two things. First, they comment on the flooring, and then the second thing is they comment on the lighting. The lighting is actually one of the best decisions I've made as well, and we'll talk about that. The other thing I like about the flooring is the functionality. It keeps fluids from being on the surface, so it's safer, more anti-slip. I'm not laying in coolant. I'm not laying in drips from snow and ice under the vehicle, things like that. But there are some precautions you want to take to make sure you protect your flooring that I have learned over the years. So let's take a look here. Okay, the first concern, the overwhelming elephant in the room, durability. Is the RaceDeck going to stand up to heavy use? Or is this one of those surfaces that if you're just gonna park your sports car over it, nothing more, like a epoxy. I used to use epoxy. Epoxy is great, but if you're going to be moving engines around in jacks and using the QuickJacks and things, that epoxy is going to scratch up and it's not gonna last very long. The RaceDeck is eons more durable than the epoxy. And the other thing is, even if you did damage one of the tiles, you can just pop them out like Lego bricks and replace them. As you can see, and as you guys know if you're on my main channel, I do lots of heavy duty activities with the garage. Changing engines, changing transmissions. I'm always using the QuickJacks. I'm always using the creeper around and everything. And I can tell you that the tiles hold up incredibly well. But there are a couple precautions you want to take. One of them, if you are using a traditional floor jack like this, and you're lifting up a fairly heavy vehicle, you will damage the tiles unless you put something underneath the floor jack like that to give the wheels the ability to roll. All right, and actually I find I only need to really do them under the front wheels. But if you do not put something like a sheet metal underneath that jack, what's gonna happen is your tiles are gonna start bunching up, and it's gonna create kind of a bubble that will be permanent. So if you're using a traditional floor jack like this, it is essential that you get some sheet metal like this. This is just, I think, a 12 by 12 piece of probably 1/8 inch, I'm not sure, 16 gauge sheet metal, so that the jack wheels will be able to roll and not bunch up your tiles. Now, my QuickJacks don't really have that phenomenon where they'll bunch up the tiles unless I'm lifting a really, really heavy vehicle like a full-size Suburban or something like that. In which case, what's gonna happen is the QuickJacks, as they kind of slide to move and adjust under the vehicle, well, because they're pushing so hard on the RaceDeck will actually start to move, and the same phenomenon. It'll bunch up the tiles and deform them permanently. But what I found is a very easy trick for that. Before I place my QuickJacks in position, I kind of line them up, and then I just spray a light coat of WD-40, set my QuickJacks over that WD-40, and that gives some lubrication that the QuickJacks now will just glide in position over the tile instead of catching the tile and deforming it. And then I just wipe it up with some acetone or something afterwards. But to be honest with you, the tile is so slip-free. You don't even really have to clean up the WD-40. It's really slip-free as well, which is a really, really nice feature. Okay, another question is, how about cleaning the floor? How do you clean the floor? Right now, the floor is extremely dirty because I'm in the middle of doing a couple major projects. It's not worth it for me to clean the floor until afterwards. But there's a couple things you can do. One of them is just using some engine degreaser and a push broom like this one right here. That makes pretty easy work of it. You can also use garage floor cleaner as well. Sometimes I'll just get a trough or something, dip the brush in there and scrub it over. But an easier way by far, if you have a pressure washer, you can either just use a regular pressure washer to clean it, which works amazingly well, or you can use this device here. This is the pressure washer mate from, what is this, Lidodola. We'll put links to these products in the video description here. And what this does is it's got these spinning jets here that create a big field of jet wash there, plus the scrubbing brushes here. And these scrubbing bristles along with the jet wash makes for very quick work. We will show you a section that I cleaned earlier before this video. As you can see, when the floor is clean, it really pops. It really stands out. Again, this garage floor is 4.5 years old, and I've only ever had to replace maybe 4 or 5 tiles, and only because I jacked up a car with a standard jack and deformed the tiles. Other than that, driving the car on the tiles, turning the steering wheel and turning the tires while they're on the tiles, nothing seems to deform the tiles unless you really, really try. All right, one final thing is the choice of tiles. So I went with the Free Flow XL. This, if you look real close, has these slats here where fluids and water and stuff will just go right through. If you have a spill, generally what I do is I use a vacuum to vacuum it up, like shop vac. Also, you can just take a small screwdriver or something, pop a tile out of place and mop up your spill. But also one concern would be if you drop something, a very tiny screw or nut or washer or something between the tiles. To retrieve that, typically I'll just use a pair of needle nose pliers or something, or a magnet pickup tool. Or if I'm not sure exactly where I lost the item, I'll just kind of sweep the area over with a magnet like this to pick up anything from underneath the tiles. This is a, let's see here, Rechabite. Is that Rechabite? We'll put a link to it, but it's just this big spanning magnet that's really powerful that will draw up anything from under the floor. The other type of RaceDeck has a smooth surface, and I just opted against that, even though it looks really great, just because of the nature of the work I do. I want fluids and water and ice melt from the car to drip through the tile so that I'm not laying in puddles and things like that. But it's really a matter of preference. Either RaceDeck will look great and last great. I just think the Free Flow is better if you're doing actual shop repairs and mechanic stuff. All right, one question also is, how long does it take to install? Believe it or not, I did the entire 3.5 car garage myself, including all the trimming around the stairs and the corners like this and everything, in only about 4.5 hours. That's absolutely no exaggeration. You just drop them in place and just stomp on them until they click, and you just do tile after tile after tile. I did it myself. Honestly, it was 4.5 hours. Now, no matter how good your flooring is and how durable it is and how good it looks, nothing sets it off like really good lighting. Also, obviously, really good lighting makes your work area much more effective, much more pleasant, and much safer. For lighting, my lighting is also done at the same time I did the RaceDeck tiles, and that would be my PrimeLights right up here. Now, even if you don't go with the PrimeLights that I did, at the very minimum, if you've got regular light bulbs in your garage, regular standard incandescent like 60-watt light bulbs, you have to replace them with these LED lights. These alone will actually make a dramatic difference, not just in your garage, but in your basement or in a storage room. So at the very minimum, you definitely want to do those. All right, one other thing I get asked a lot is about the big ass fan in my garage. That is a big ass fan, like literally. It's a big ass fan. The name of the company is called Big Ass Fans. This again is one of the best things I did in the garage. Now I do have climate control in the garage through a mini split, so I have heat and air conditioning, but most of the time I can control the climate very comfortably just with the fan right here. The fan also has a nice light as well, and I position the fan so it would be right over the engine bay of a car, so I'm always comfortable. It has variable speeds. You can have it reverse direction. You can control it from your phone. All kinds of features with this fan. All right, now one very, very important advice if you're going to do the ceiling fan. It is very critical that you plan your spacing so that any lighting that you have goes at least a foot outside of the edges of the fan. If you have a light directly behind the fan blades up there, you're going to create a strobe effect through your whole garage that is going to be so annoying, and it's probably going to give you a seizure. So it's really important if you do the ceiling fan that you modify your lighting so there's no lighting behind the blades. All right, speaking about temperature control, one of the things that other people ask about is what is the insulation on my garage door here. So the garage is fully insulated, but the door is kind of a weak spot there because the doors are not insulated. But I went with an extremely, extremely low-cost option for the garage door because also my garage is somewhat south-facing, so it does get more sunlight. And basically, this is nothing more than, honestly, it's bubble wrap between two sheets of aluminum foil, pretty much. We'll give you a link to a product here, but I just basically cut it to size, fit it with some trim pieces that were already on the garage door, and it gives a nice finished appearance, but also it's surprisingly functional. Check this out. All right, what this is a thermal image of an experiment that I did just to see if this would work. This is the thermal image taken from the outside of the garage, looking at my two garage doors. In winter, we can see there's a vehicle parked right here that I just parked. You can see the engine's a little bit warm there. But what you can see is this door right here was treated with the thermal insulation, and you can see that it is not letting the heat escape, which would be your reds and yellows there. The door here on the right was not treated, and you can see the amount of heat loss that I'm getting from that door because it's not treated. So it absolutely does make a significant difference just with that little bubble wrap. All right, we're going to just give a couple more honorable mentions for if you want the complete experience here. Another one of the best things that I ever bought is the Gladiator cabinets. These Gladiator cabinets are actually more than 12 years old and they still hold up and look great. So I really recommend the Gladiator cabinets for appearance and also for durability and functionality. The whole Gladiator system for garage organization allows you to mix things like shelves and cabinets and hooks all on the same system, so that's really nice. And then of course, my QuickJacks, like my garage floor, were another big decision that caused me a lot of stress and worry if this is the right way to go. Just like with my garage floor, it was the right decision. The QuickJacks are an awesome, awesome tool that if you're doing a lot of work and you're always using your floor jack all the time, the QuickJack is worth every penny. It's worked way better than I expected. These are also over 4 years old. They work so good, I even bought another set as well. So I can't recommend those enough. Again, that's another decision that you really worry, are you doing the right thing here? You can't go wrong with the QuickJack. You can't go wrong with the RaceDeck floor. Okay, that's a review. I hope that helps answer the viewer questions, as well as any of you guys who are also considering maybe doing some upgrades to your garage. If you have any other questions or suggestions or concerns about any of the products we covered or anything else that you see in the garage that catches your eye, just drop a comment and we'll go ahead and we'll do a video and we'll answer it for you. Thanks for watching.